Shrapnel.
Wagwan everyone, and welcome to Film Shrapnel, your number one spot for everything movie. My name's Tobias, and this is my co-anchor and partner in crime, Craig Britton. Hello, Craig.
Hey Tobias, how's it going, man?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. And welcome to episode 2 of Janime, our anime month of January. And today we've watched Akira.
I have to say, man, we haven't got round to recording the next one, but I will say that I think we've made some pretty good choices for movies this month. I'm pretty pleased.
Yeah, I quite liked this one. I think I like this one a lot more than Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And however, I still think that my rating for this might be similar to my rating of Ghost in the Shell. So by default, I think my Ghost in the Shell rating needs to come down.
Ooh.
Just after watching this, I'm like, okay, this is what I was more expecting when we watched Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, I was thinking you would probably say something like that because this film has a lot more action. It doesn't hold back on it, and it moves at a much faster pace. And
Absolutely.
like the biggest thing that we were talking about with Ghost in the Shell was how much of the dialogue just got spilled through. Sorry, how much of the plot got spilled through dialogue, but we don't have any of those kind of issues here.
No, not at all. This is well told. It's very succinctly put there for you to digest. And do you know what I think's interesting? This was made by the guy who did the manga as well.
Ah, that's quite interesting because I was
Isn't it?
thinking, yeah, because I was thinking with Ghost in the Shell that some of the ways that the dialogue, like the plot got spilled through. I'm saying it kind of weirdly. I was thinking that because a lot of the plot was spilled through dialogue, that was because it was from a manga. But obviously here, if this is made by the same guy, maybe that's not the issue.
So,
Or maybe they just knew how to change it from one medium to the next a bit better.
so the little bit that I know is that the sort of first sort of main series of the manga ends with that big explosion at the end of the movie, but then the ending of the movie is the ending of the manga, but there's like 3 series of stories in between that in the manga.
Okay, so there's a lot more. They condensed it a lot then here. That's
Yeah,
what we're
but I
saying.
don't really know. But because I haven't watched because I haven't read the manga, I don't know any more than that. So I don't really know how you can cut 3 years of stories and it still work. But apparently that's the case.
There might be some hardcore fans who hate the movie then, who are like, they cut so much. I wouldn't be
Perhaps.
surprised.
Well, again, interestingly, he made this movie. So he started making the manga, then he made the movie in the middle of him creating the manga, but he finished the manga well after completing the movie. So the movie and the manga actually influenced each other quite a bit. So I actually think a lot of people are satisfied with this movie for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting
But
to
it,
find out if that's not the
but
case, though.
but this is it. Without having spooled through the manga, it's really hard to have an opinion on it. But it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting fact. But yeah, I really don't know much beyond that. Did
Yeah.
you watch this? Did you watch this in Japanese?
I did. I couldn't find the dubbed version.
I didn't want a dubbed version. I went Japanese. I think that was a problem with Ghost in the Shell for me, and so I went Japanese, and I much preferred watching an anime in Japanese.
Yeah. But why do you think that is? You prefer to read it than to hear it?
I just think that I just find that there's often stuff lost in translation with dubbing it, but when you subtitle it, you still have sort of the inflections and tone of voice in order to try and figure out context, I guess, or additional context. So I think there's less lost in translation when you read it but hear the original audio.
Hmm, that's interesting. Maybe I should test that out one day. Watch something first in dub and then in sub and see if it changes my opinion.
To be fair, it might be different for everyone, but like I've often found, for me, I think that's the best way to engage. Because you remember when we did Jackie Chan month, there was a there was a few films that when watching it in the original audio, and when I was a kid, I'd always watched it dubbed. So watching it back with the original audio and subtitles, I actually picked up stuff that I never caught when I was a kid. So it's only a recent discovery of mine, but it's certainly a discover. Certainly something I'm going to live by now.
Uh huh.
Um, Also, this movie was significantly longer than Ghost in the Shell, and I think it benefits from that.
Yeah, I don't think it felt much longer though. Like, because it had so much going on that it didn't feel like it was lagging or anything.
Mm,
It was the
yeah.
length that it needed to be.
Shall we get into the story?
Yes.
Uh, I only wrote down Canada and Tetsuo's name. Everyone else, I don't remember their name. Um,
I think those are the only two names I remember as well.
yeah. I will say though, there is an amazing character that's like just a really small Donald Trump in a floating wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah, but he's a good guy. He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
but he doesn't come across as a good guy initially. Initially, he comes off very Trump, very very Trump.
Yeah. By the way, I know I'll ask you this later. Uh, so no, let's go into the plot actually, because if I start, I'm gonna start like going on massive tangents.
All right,
So,
go on then. Go on after you, sir.
so what do we have here? We have the beginning of the film starts with a massive explosion.
So yeah,
Uh,
like it's been there was some kind of war that destroyed Tokyo.
yeah, and I think the year now, if I was correct, did I write down the year?
I think it's 2019.
Yeah, so this has already happened. We're already in the that's to be honest, that's like what 30 years after the film was made. So yeah,
Mm,
oh, it's a bit old actually, but it doesn't feel that way.
no.
So now we're living in Neo Tokyo.
Hmm.
Uh, so like yeah, everything is kind of rebuilt. It's more futuristic. Everything's bigger, but we have a lot of like disorder in the streets.
It's
Uh,
very, yeah, it's like Gotham City now.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good comparison, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of civil unrest. People are protesting. We have our mayor at one point, who I think they really made him look like a rat. There was a little bit of a plot with
Yeah.
him, um, but yeah, he kind of disappeared at one point. But the
Mm.
real plot really is that we have these young guys who are in a biker gang. It reminds me a little bit of Mad Max in a way. Uh, so we
Yeah,
have
okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit. Like, isn't
Yeah,
there a
yeah,
kind of thing with like the future and
yeah.
biker gangs and
I, I mean, I hadn't seen it when I was watching it, but now you've said it. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right,
kind of,
fair.
kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. All
reminds
right.
me, but I wouldn't say like heavily.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll give
think
it. Yeah.
you feel I'm pushing it a bit there.
No, 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 no. No, I just didn't initially think of it, but yeah, yeah. Now you bring it up. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So we have our main guy is Canada, who sounds like Canada. We
Yeah.
have Tetsuo, and
Who sounds like a car?
yeah, he does. And at first, I thought Tetsuo was supposed to be like a year or a bit younger than Canada. But I
He is,
think,
isn't he?
well, it kind of implies later on that they're more or less the same age. Maybe he's just a bit shorter than Canada. Canada's a
Yeah,
bit of a bigger guy.
but Calendar always sort of like looked out for him, which would imply that he's like. younger in some way. Even if
Maybe,
only a little bit, he must be younger.
maybe, yeah. I always just thought it was more because he was bullied and stuff. Yeah, he was always looking out for him.
Mm,
But
perhaps.
Tetsuo, he wants to try to like prove himself a little bit that he's not just a kid. And so, while we're in the future, they're going around beating up some clown gang.
Can I,
Uh,
can I can I just say, with this clown gang, I'm pretty sure you see there's one of them. He's riding the motorcycle, but his arms are crossed, and I died laughing. I was like, oh, I love that he's so macho that he can ride the motorcycle with his arms crossed. That was jokes.
I didn't see that one.
I think it's
Uh,
just in the background. I'm sure it's just one guy in the back, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. I quite like that. I wrote it down. I thought it was funny.
yeah. And then so, meanwhile, while they're beating up clown gangs, what was the juggalos? Maybe is better. um, that there is some guy going through the city with this kind of man, old child is the best way to describe it. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't know why that happened and why they were there. I
Yeah,
don't think they explained that actually.
so, so we know that like these are going to be like the psychic children, right? But again, like you, I always thought that they were going to explain, oh, some guy tried to liberate him or something. You know, he got close to a guard and then the guard helped him escape or whatever. But then when we get back, he acts like he doesn't want to leave. So like I say, initially I was like, oh, he's escaped, but then you know when he goes back to them, I suppose they do explain that actually.
How
They do
so?
explain that. Well, because then like Donald Trump comes to pick him up at that point, and he's like, "You got to come back with us. You know we can't survive out here."
Oh yeah, okay. So maybe there is something there,
Yeah,
but it still
but
didn't
again,
explain who that.
he didn't want to be there. Clearly, he initially escaped, and then that guy must have been someone who worked at the facility, perhaps, and
Yeah,
helped him escape.
you know
But
what
yeah, that's the last we ever see of the guy.
yeah, he gets
Although,
killed.
to be fair, we have skipped a crucial point. This is this just before this bit, we get the very very famous Akira bike slide.
Yeah,
You know
no, you'll see in the
that's
posters.
you see it in the posters, you see it in a bunch of other fucking movies and TV shows. Have you seen the new? You haven't seen the new Jordan Peele movie Nope, have you?
No, I haven't got round to it yet.
It,
No.
they do the Akira bike slide in that.
Ah,
And I
I,
was watching I was watching Jordan Peele in an interview, and they were like, "Oh, you got to do the sorry." They were like, "Oh, you did like Akira here," and he just looks at the clip, and then he just gets all excited. He's like, "I got to do it, man! I actually got to do the Akira bike slide." So, like, yeah, he's clearly a fan of this movie, like so many other people.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, they're really into their films. Those guys,
It
like a lot more
it
than people probably think.
it is a very cool bike slide.
It's a very cool bike as well, just in
It is a
general.
very cool bike. It is a very cool bike. I like. They kind of remind me of Tron bikes. Do you
Yeah,
remember Tron? Yeah,
especially because of the lights that follow them as they're driving along, and you
yeah,
have these. Yeah,
yeah.
it's cool.
For me, I got like Tron Blade Runner vibes from this film. Another film, like two films in a row now, animes that have had Blade Runner vibes.
Blade
Uh,
Runner was a massively influential, man. I'm not too
oh yeah,
surprised. I think anything really that's set in a kind of dystopian future automatically kind of draws a little bit from Blade Runner.
yeah.
Like
It's
it's
hard
always
not
some.
to.
Yeah,
Even that really bad Super Mario Brothers movie from the 90s with
yeah,
John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins, like even that, like it's like, okay, but why have you made this like Blade Runner? Why haven't you made this? Why haven't you made this like the Super Mario Land games? Yeah,
yeah. I've read up
interesting
on
film
that,
though.
by the way. Yeah, we
Interesting film though. I actually think that film's underrated. I like it.
It's
It's
weird. I remember
different.
watching it as a kid, and I didn't think it was really like. I was trying to. Is this really like? Even as a kid, I was like, I can't really see the connection with Super
Yeah,
Mario here.
it,
It's just
it's so different. It's so different. It's such a unique beast. It's so confusing. I love it.
yeah.
I
It's
love
a
it.
case study on films gone wrong.
Yeah.
So
Um. Well, so carry on with the story. So, uh, Tetsuo gets injured when this biker gang interacts with the little kid psychic, and then there's like a bike accident, and then when Donald Trump kid shows up to take the other psychic back to the lab with him, the government also pick up Tetsuo as well and take him in for. I assume they experiment on him, and then they end up giving him psychic powers,
well,
just like the other kids.
I think he got psychic powers from his interaction with the old boy. Did they give him a name? If they did, I didn't catch it.
I think
Uh,
all three. I think all three of those kids had names. I just have absolutely. I just know two character names.
yeah,
There's
no,
only two characters I wrote down.
yeah. So I think it's I don't think that they gave him psychic powers. I think it happened by accident when he interacted with that
So
when he
he
crashed into the boy.
when you touch a Benjamin Button, you become a Benjamin Button.
Something like that. Yeah, I think something
Yeah.
like that happened. But there's something I wanted to mention. So this guy earlier on who is leading the old boy out through the protests in the city and gets shot because he has a gun. I actually don't know
Mm.
why he even bothered to go through the men. Yeah, why would he even do that? He went right through the middle and then got like started shooting and then he got shot. Maybe he would have been smarter not to have done that, but never mind. I was thinking the whole time I saw that bit that this is going to come back in like later, like somehow it's going to reflect on it, like there's going to be some time travel or something, and he's going to turn out to be characters from the rest of the story who somehow got tied up in it. I thought something like that was going to happen. Maybe it's better it didn't happen. I don't want my expectations to be met. I want my expectations to be subverted. It's better.
True. True, it is better to say because I will say this film did subvert my expectations, especially the ending. I know we're trying to set up the story, but if you will permit me to skip to the ending, but we have this whole like mystery of like what was Akira. I say a mystery. It's only a mystery to the audience, but like Akira was this, I guess, another one of these psychic children that uh I think it's revealed that they were the cause of the explosion uh,
Mm-hmm.
that we see at the beginning of the movie that basically destroys original Tokyo. Um, now, when they get Akira, it's this big fucking like containment thing, and then they open it. You think it's going to be like some crazy creature, and it's just like a couple of vials of test tubes that and it turned out, oh yeah, the real Akira died. We dissected the shit out of him to make you lot. You know, we're trying to pass on his abilities to everyone. You know, yeah, I thought it was a pretty yeah. I just wasn't expecting it. I quite liked it, and of
Yeah,
course Tetsuo wasn't expecting it. But to be fair, we're getting so ahead of ourselves.
we are. Yeah,
I seem to recall it around this point when they take Tetsuo off. Um, what's his name? Canada. He gets taken in. The biker kids get taken in by like the feds,
yeah,
and they're all getting like checked out for being like rebels. And Canada sees a girl that he just finds attractive and decides to get her out with him. But she is one of the rebels, as it turns out. So he did do a solid. But his motivation was, oh, pretty girl.
yeah.
Oh,
He
pretty girl.
he has no political motivations. He's just a guy on the
No,
streets. By the way,
he just
there's no
wants to chase and
parents.
tail.
There are
He's
no
chasing
parents
tail.
in this movie.
Well, I assume there are parents. Like they're all going to school, and like what kind of kid who is like runs in a rebellious biker gang at night would choose to go to school if they didn't have parents? They just wouldn't go to school, would they? They'd just
That's
be
true.
their biker gang all day. they must have parents enforcing some kind of law on them. But at night
Yeah.
they just do their own thing. I'd, they reminded me of Batman and Robin, like the motorcycle gangs in Batman and Robin, and it really shouldn't have. That's a bad movie.
Well, even bad movies get influenced by good movies. So
Oh, that's true.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah, what happened next? So Canada
well,
gets
I
out of
think we get
prison.
yeah they get out.
Jail.
We find out that Tetsuo we so yeah you're quite right. They get out. Then we find out that Tetsuo has like telepathy of some kind. Uh,
But he can't control it, and it's painful for him, which is very important. So
yes.
basically, and he's also getting kind of angry, and he's fed up with people. He wants to basically escape. He wants to get out of the city, which he's struggling to do. I
Mm,
think he takes his girlfriend with him at one point. He tries to leave, and he steals Canada's bike because Canada's bike is supposed to be like super fast, like because he's like
yeah.
jacked it up. And they get attacked by the clowns again, I think, right? Uh,
Yeah, they do, and it gets pretty rough as well because they rip off the girl's shirt,
yeah, and
and it
Canada has to come and save the day. But
yeah
Tetsuo is pissed off because Canada always helps him, but he wants to be his own man, Tetsuo. He doesn't want people to look out for
mm.
him. Um, and
But then
yeah,
he starts hallucinating though. At that point, that's when Canada's like, "Look, there's something wrong with you. This isn't you. This isn't normal Tetsuo." And I think this is the first time we hear like a sort of the voice of something saying Akira in his head.
yeah, maybe around
Maybe,
here.
but yeah, he starts like hallucinating and like seeing things in his head, and then the government show up because they're just sort of round the corner for some reason, and then they're like, "Oh, something's blipping up, something's spiking on our whatever the fuck machine," and it's Tetsuo like sort of juicing up on power, like his power's like making his head all fucked.
Yeah,
Um,
he can't control it at all.
mm,
And they also mentioned that they're putting him on medication. They're trying to treat him, but he doesn't want to be treated and experimented on. He wants to be free.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, and I'm getting lost in the plot points here, but somehow, yeah, they take Canada back. And Canada is, oh, yes, I've just remembered now one of my favorite parts of the film. I didn't even write this down for some reason. When Tetsuo is in the hospital and the toys start moving.
Oh yeah,
This was
yeah,
great.
yeah,
I really
yeah.
liked that. That was fantastic.
That was really cool because the toys were the other three psychic children essentially playing with him, like telekinetically trying to play a game with him. I guess I thought it was quite
Yeah.
interesting. It was a really good scene. You're quite right. Visually, it was incredible. I have to say, I think the whole film is visually incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree as well.
But
But that,
this sequence really is something different. It is something else.
yeah. And then, yeah, they were like, I think they even merged into one giant teddy bear thing at one point. And
Well, is that not sort of? It might be foreshadowing something coming up later as well.
yes, I think you're
Mm,
right.
yeah,
And yeah, and then so then Tetsuo goes on like a massive rampage after like defeating these things that I guess are in his head, and he's trying to get to the other kids. By the way, these kids did they ever specify why they're like old children? Is there anything about that?
I I think they're just like the psychic powers make them weak.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they're at
that's all
least
it is.
but they would at least be let's say so I think the event that destroyed Tokyo was supposed to be like 1988 or whatever, like the same year the film was made, and now it's 2019, so about 30 years are gone. So probably they were like kids at the time, so they'd probably be in their 40s by now. So I guess somehow they stopped aging. They didn't go through puberty or grow up like to be physically taller or anything, but they physically became older in another way. You know what I mean? Which is kind of
Mm.
strange. But maybe there was something done to stop them aging. Maybe if they got older, like there would have been something would have happened with their powers or something. Because Tetsuo is a teenager, so I don't know if there's anything
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, it's hard to say.
But yeah,
I'm
if
not.
they
I'm
were
not
in their
sure.
40s, they wouldn't have like whitish hair and look so, because they look like they're what 70s or something, don't they?
Well, they look like they're children, but yeah, they have the skin quality of a prune.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to find out. Maybe if we watch this series, it might be revealed. Maybe there is more there. But I
Is there
also
a
like the mystery.
series?
Well, you said there was like a three-part thing, didn't you?
No, that's the manga.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I got confused there. Maybe if we read the manga after, we might learn why they are the way they are.
Well, apparently Taika Waititi has been talking about doing Akira.
Hmm. I don't know. I think they should leave it alone. After I heard what he did with four, I don't know if he should be allowed to touch Akira. Leave it. Let's please leave it. I like it how it is. I don't want someone to spoil my idea of it. It's not necessary. So yeah, what happens next? I think somehow, maybe you remember this better than I do, but somehow Canada uh, finds the girl that he likes again later, right? And he helps her escape,
Yeah.
and he shoots someone, he kills someone, and then somehow like something to oh no, I'm getting very confused. There's something to do with basically they both need to go to the hospital to get Tetsuo, but I can't remember why.
Well, they're just going to go save Tetsuo, aren't they? Oh yeah, that rampage starts when he does he like explodes five doctors just by pushing them out the way, and then Tetsuo. Sorry, no, Canada. Aren't they like coming in through the sewers or something?
Yes.
I'm finding it hard to remember that, but they're in the sewers, and then there's like a glider thing,
Mm,
and so they like hit the guy. They get the glider thing so they can fly into the hospital. But while they're doing that, uh, Tetsuo is like literally exploding everyone's brains, um, and becoming like power mad.
yeah.
And then
And
when Canada finally does get there, uh, him and Tetsuo actually have like a confrontation rather than a "oh, we're here to save you." Like he gets all pissed off and unreasonable.
you know, at this point in the film, it reminds me of Chronicle. Have you seen Chronicle?
I have seen Chronicle, yes.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not
Chronicle.
bad.
Yeah, I think it draws from Akira on this. The idea of like someone who's had it a bit rough in life suddenly being gifted some massive power and then just like using it to exact all their revenge and just becoming very power mad. Yeah, like you said. But I think
Yeah.
there are other films. I think this has been done before with other films and stuff, like where someone suddenly gets powerful and starts using it to get revenge and shit.
Yeah, it won't be the last time we'll ever see this.
No,
I like this film. It's fun. It's
me
fun.
too.
Uh, I don't, I don't think it's like remotely uh egregious in any way. It's easy to watch. It's fun. I was expecting the famous bike slide to be in a higher octane action sequence. I will say that much.
Mm,
I guess the hype around this movie made me believe that I should be expecting maybe a little bit more, but I still thought it was incredibly fun. I'm not trying to tell. I'm just nitpicking here.
yeah.
I really liked it.
Could it be that it was one of the first like anime films to become internationally well known? Could that be why?
What? Absolutely. What year was this? 80 something? 88.
88. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like this film absolutely, I think without this film, we wouldn't have had this sort of, that when the Western uh, production companies are just like, you know what, we're going to buy the rights to all of these animes from Japan. We're going to dub them here, cut out anything inappropriate, and market them to children. And without that sort of without Akira coming out, I don't think they would have had that mindset. Um, Without the success of Akira, sorry, I don't think they would have had that mindset. So we might not have gotten things like Pokemon and stuff like that uh, over in the West had it not been for Akira to break that sort of international market first.
Mm, I think there might be something there. I don't know. I don't know enough about anime, but I have a feeling that might be the case.
Mm. I mean, it definitely feels that way for sure.
Yeah. Can I say one
Uh,
other thing that I noticed as well before we talk about the end that I thought was quite interesting?
Go
Um,
on.
so as we mentioned earlier, the beginning of the film starts with like uh, an explosion in the city. It's being destroyed. The first thing you're thinking about of Japan is the atomic bomb.
Of course.
Uh, with the city, yeah, with Hiroshima and Nagasaki being destroyed. And yeah, I was thinking it was a World War III thing, but yeah, they explained that actually it was more related to this Akira guy who died. But I found it interesting that so like 30 years later, the city is basically rebuilt and is even more technologically advanced than it was in the 80s. And I think this is a very interesting idea because I think in the West, whenever we think of an atomic weapon exploding somewhere, we think that that's it. Everything is destroyed. There's no going back. That's the end. But in Japan, maybe it's more like you rebuild and you keep going. Like for example, like they didn't like when things are destroyed, like with Nagasaki and Hiroshima, they continued and picked up, and now the country is doing even better than it was like 100 years ago, if you know what I mean. So maybe like this is quite a Japanese idea. Like the world doesn't end after things have been bombed.
Mm.
You pick up and you keep going. But yeah, I think in the West we really like, oh, it's done. You bomb London, it's done. It's never going to come back again. It's destroyed. It's a wasteland. It will be like
Mm.
that forever. I don't know. Do you think that there is something about that there? I don't, or am I just
Yeah,
talking bollocks?
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a fair assumption to make. I'm not sure. Because this is the thing. I tried to look up the guy who made it, and I couldn't find anything about like his sort of intentions to including any of this really. I wasn't sure if he was trying to be political or if he was trying to say one thing or another, and I couldn't find much. I won't lie, it was only a quick search just before we got on the call, but I couldn't find a great deal um, as to like how he reads this film.
Mm.
So it's hard to say, but I think you make a fair point. It's hard not to make that comparison.
Well, now I'm even thinking about because we're going to talk about the ending now, I guess. I'm just thinking about how the ending also ties into that idea as well.
Mm.
Shall we tell the listeners what happens at the end? Would you like to take the reins?
Okay, so while Canada is basically flirting with some girl, Tetsuo is destroying the entire planet. Um, there's a great shot where he just appears in flames. It's really cool. So he shows up in like the middle of the city, and he puts on a cape. I forget where he got the cape.
I think he took it from a shop. Like it was either like a curtain or something. He just pulled it off and just wrapped it around his neck for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. For some reason, like he thought, yeah, you know what? Now that I'm a supervillain, I'm gonna rock a cape. Fuck it. Um, but I forget now that at some point he got the information as to where Akira was being held. So he's there now, and he's gonna go get him. Go find Akira. And I've got in my notes here, Craig. I mean, I never watched Dragon Ball Z, but I guess this is basically it.
There are some vibes. Actually, I think Dragon Ball Z slightly predates this film. Like what was Dragon Ball before Dragon Ball Z. It
Perhaps,
may
but
a little bit more.
perhaps, but like in terms of like Tetsuo's power set and just
Yeah,
his fucking haircut is
yeah.
very Dragon Ball Z. From at least from the little I know of Dragon Ball Z, that's the vibe I got.
I think Dragon Ball Z took influence from this definitely. Like it evolved from this film
Mm.
a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. Fair enough. I should really give it a go, Dragon Ball Z, maybe at some point, maybe. Um, so while Tetsuo is basically destroying the entire city to try and find Akira, Canada and the girl they're like following the path of destruction behind him in order to find him. And then this is where Tetsuo he uses telekinesis. We pull out this big giant metal container that says Akira on it. We open it up, we find out it's just little pieces that have been like dissected from the original Kira, and he's been long dead. Um, so then Tetsuo's like disappointed, and that oh yeah, the army's there, and they're all in tanks and shit surrounding him and stuff. And they call out to him like, "Are you satisfied now? Like there is no Akira. Come back with us. We can help you," sort of thing.
Mm.
Uh, and I think he just like Jedi mind crushes the fucking tank into like a ball, and it blows up. But then Canada shows up with a gun, with a, a lasery kind of gun
Yeah,
uh, that can run out of battery. Which
yeah.
like
That was kind of odd.
yeah, so they have this like confrontation where they're fighting each other. Canada proper holding his own against Tetsuo, like super psychic guy, even though he all he is just a motorcyclist. um, and he's never used this gun before, presumably, but he's like a dead shot with it. Um, he gets him dead on. He actually hits him. No one else, fully trained military men, have not been able to hit Tetsuo. But Canada, with one shot, can hit Tetsuo. But again, it ran out of batteries, so that was the last
Just
blast. And for some reason, the last blast doesn't blast you.
yeah, it just touches your
It
shirt and then stops.
it aesthetically does it, but it doesn't do the job. It's weird. That annoyed me. I will say that annoyed me. I didn't like that.
Yeah, and I'll also mention at this point, there's always I don't know what this is a kind of trope that I have noticed that's in this film, and I've seen it in other kind of anime stuff before. There's always like a one-on-one kind of thing. You have a super powerful bad guy who's destroying everything, and people don't attack at once. There's like one by one.
Yeah,
Like so, Canada
yeah,
tries to kill him, and then a bit later we're gonna have that military guy try to kill him, and then you have the whole thing with the well, I won't spoil the ending, but like it always feels like it's everyone is like one by one trying to fight the super
well,
powerful guy.
yeah.
It's kind of strange.
They're slowly building this climax up. I think, like, because initially it made sense that they're chasing him down, they're trying to slow him down, but then when he finally gets to Akira, it's like, well, look, now you know there's nothing there. Just come back with us, like we can help you. But then after that, you're quite right. It's like you should all just tag team him. You should all just get on it, get at him at once. Uh, but yeah, that you're quite right. They all just sort of take their time. But we are building to that big climactic thing that you don't want to spoil.
Yeah, and it's at this point
So,
as well. After Canada fails to kill Tetsuo, we have that giant space laser
space
thing.
laser beam, yeah, laser beam,
Yeah, laser, and
a laser beam.
Tetsuo flies up into space to destroy it, and then the pieces fall, or like the ray of the laser starts flying everywhere and destroys a lot of the city and shit.
Hmm.
And yeah, kind of crazy.
And the,
He just learns to fly to into space. He just by
yeah,
instinct, I guess.
and yeah, he doesn't even consider that he won't be able to breathe out there. He just knows instinctually he'll be fine.
Yeah,
Uh, Also, he loses an arm there, doesn't he? The laser like melts his arm off
yeah, and he gets a new arm by
by like
uh
any like mechanical shit nearby.
yeah, and I have a note on that in a second. But I guess we're kind of already at that point now. So after this big conflict, the military completely fails to destroy Tetsuo. Tetsuo has
Hmm.
destroyed a lot of Tokyo by destroying this giant laser. Uh, for some reason, then Tetsuo goes to like some kind of big stadium with the
It's
parts
the
of Akira.
it's the Olympic Stadium. That's where they hid Akira.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then again, so we had the
Oh,
military
but,
guy.
but his old girlfriend's there for some reason.
Yeah, she somehow finds him by
Yeah.
herself. Not like there's no one stopping anybody from reaching him. They managed to
No.
get there. And it's at this point Tetsuo starts going a bit like he can't control his abilities anymore, and
His metal arm goes Cronenberg style.
yeah, it starts like connecting to the he sits on like a little throne, and it starts connecting to everything, like becoming ingrained into it. And the military guy tries to kill him with a gun. I don't know why he fucking thinks it's gonna work, but he tries it. And some point around here, maybe you remember it better than me, Tetsuo makes a big transformation. I don't know. Do you want to explain it? Because I think you have a fresher memory because I watched this a few days earlier.
Uh, yeah, I watched it a few days ago as well. I
Ah,
seem to
okay.
remember. I think like the sidekicks show up to help, don't they? The little
They do.
sidekick kids show up, or one of them shows up. But then yeah, he does turn into a giant monster after that point. Like he starts mutating, and then like you can see in his face, he's like, "Oh shit, hang on a minute, I'm proper mutating now. Oh fuck, oh fuck." And like that's when he's like, he actually does say to Canada like, "Help me," or
Hmm.
does he say "kill me"? Or I definitely remember him saying "help me."
Yeah. Does he kill his girlfriend here by accident?
He
She gets
does, yeah.
stuck.
The girlfriend gets sucked in, and then Canada gets sucked in, but uh, we hear Tetsuo like commentate. He basically narrates the entire process of the girl dying, presumably to Canada. Therefore, she can hear her own death being narrated just before she dies,
That's
which I
weird.
thought was pretty morbid. Yeah, but Canada gets out, and then the true Akira appears.
Yeah. And also at this point, what was kind of strange for me, so we established earlier, Tetsuo has made himself a new robotic arm, kind of like out of
Yeah,
scrap pieces. And so, but as he expands, like also the mechanical parts also seem to expand. Did you notice that as well?
yeah,
But
yeah.
surely there was only so much metal in him, like those bits that he used for his arm. But he gets so large, and all these like so much more of him is mechanical. And I'm wondering, like, where did that come from? Why is he becoming so mechanical as well
Well,
at the same
where
time?
where did any of this fucking Cronenberg bit come from? We literally never got any whisper of anything remotely like this would even be possible in this universe up until this moment in the film.
I don't know. Well,
Like
but
I felt that this bit, as cool as it is, it's I thought it was very mad. I did as much as there's like sidekicks throughout the whole film, this bit just felt a bit too ridiculous for me. I thought it was cool. I didn't understand what was happening though. I didn't know why it was happening. All I really knew was, oh, he's lost control of his powers. But okay, So losing control of your powers makes you a giant Cronenberg fetus monster.
Basically, that seems to be what's happening. Yeah,
I guess so.
yeah.
I guess so.
He didn't take his medication, and now he's all over the place. But I like what you just said. I didn't understand what was happening, but I thought it was cool. I think you should put that on a shirt.
It is cool though. Yeah, no, I have to say that I can't knock too many points off because yeah, I didn't really catch it like, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it. I thought it
Yeah,
was a lot of fun. Um, and then Akira rocks up, the real Akira. I think like the test tubes with its pieces get smashed or something. They get smashed, and then he can come back for some reason. And the light from him, the light that emanates from him, basically fixes everything. Um,
still destroys Tokyo though.
oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's another. Yeah. So there's like a big ball of light, and they all get sucked into the light. Well, Tetsuo gets sucked in. Canada gets sucked in, and then
The
the
old kids.
psychics. Yeah, the psychics are like, well, we'll go in, and then we'll be able to get Canada out because he doesn't deserve to be in there. But does Tetsuo even deserve to be in there? Like, we know he only went mad because like the superpowers like corrupted him and made him mental. So it's
Well,
not his fault.
yeah, but I don't think they have a choice because now he's so powerful that he can't control it. He needs to be
Yeah,
taken. He needs to go.
I guess so. Well, yeah, they save Canada then, and then
Mm.
so Tetsuo and his girlfriend have to die, or at least transcend to another plane of existence.
That's what I yeah I don't well I'm not sure about his girlfriend because she got killed before. She was crushed to death,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
But Tetsuo, I think, would then because they then go to start a new universe, basically, don't they?
Yeah,
Is
there's a
what I
very 2001 Space Odyssey ending here.
yeah yeah. Again, yeah, we also forget about the influence of that film as well because I think also there was some
Mm,
influence from what I read for Ghost in the Shell. 2001 Space Odyssey was also apparently an influence, but yeah, I also you can see it here again. Uh, yeah, those two films, Blade Runner,
well,
2001 Space Odyssey.
although, even though this ball of light destroys Tokyo, right?
Mm.
And we get to see the landscape of Tokyo after this explosion, because this explosion created a new universe, so it would have to have been a big one. Um, how are there survivors? There are people alive.
Yeah, maybe the destruction should have been bigger than that.
Yeah, when you look at all the buildings in that final shot, how are there anyone even close to alive? How
That's
is
a good
there
point.
anyone?
There shouldn't be. You get the feeling that
No.
maybe the destruction from the beginning of the film would have been bigger than the destruction that they got now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So
But I
yeah,
but I do like this sort of interesting ending of like, uh, they sort of go off into another universe, into another uh dimension or
they
plane of
basically
existence.
yeah, I imagine they basically kind of became like gods and rebuilt
Yeah,
something. Yeah, started over. Which
yeah.
also, by the way, now
Really
now
big ideas.
yeah, it reminds me a bit of Stranger Things in I think like the fourth
Uh,
season. You haven't
I've
watched it,
never
have you?
I've never
Yeah.
seen it. No.
Well, the whole idea of going to a new universe reminds me of one of the seasons. But yes, can I just also say, because we're close to ending now, I think, uh,
Mm.
my last note, like, why have I never seen this film before? Like, it's amazing. I loved watching it. Like,
I
I know
know.
we've nitpicked a lot, by the way, but I don't care. I still really like it. I don't care about the
Yeah,
nitpicking shit. I will watch this again and really like it.
I really like this film. I think I mentioned earlier that I like this film so much that my rating for it, uh, where I rate it, I think I'm going to have to reduce Ghost in the Shell's rating in order to rate this properly. because this is a lot better than Ghost in the Shell, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I still like Ghost in the Shell, but I enjoyed watching Akira a lot more.
Yeah, this is a much more enjoyable film. It toys with big ideas, but doesn't like it doesn't let that. It's not. I'll tell you what it is with Ghost in the Shell. I think there's a lot of um, that there'll be either style or substance, not a balance of the two. Whereas this one, like I think there's a lot of like a lot of balance of both, where they might talk about big ideas, but then it's still centered into a really grounded character driven story. And so I really cared about Canada as a character. I cared about Tetsuo as a character. I liked the peripheral characters as well. That's not something I can say for Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
Besides Baku, I like Baku, but that were it.
Batu. It's
Batu.
but I agree. I think you've knocked it right on the head there. Like I can't say anything to disagree or anything to what you just said. I think you got it right there. I mean, it's just it's just a lot more enjoyable while still having big ideas. It's like
Yeah,
Ghost in the Shell felt no, you can only have big ideas, but it's like no, you can have big ideas and still be fun and stylistic and
absolutely.
relatable. So I don't know. Maybe I also have to knock down my rating of Ghost in the Shell.
Well, I think I'm now gonna make Ghost in the Shell a 6 out of 10 movie.
Oh, that's a scathing one. That's scathing. I thought
Six
that
point. All right, 6.5 then. 6.5.
because I'll say this: I'm still gonna put Ghost in the Shell at least a 7, at least.
I think I already gave it a 7
Did you?
or 7.5,
Hmm.
something like that. But like, because this is the thing, this film is gonna get a 7.5 from me.
Really?
So,
I
yeah,
I was gonna put this one at maybe an 8. Actually, I think Akira's an 8.
I mean, it could, like I said, it could be an 8. It could be an 8, but for me, I'm gonna go 7.5 because spoiler alert, I have watched the next film in our anime month, and that's what I like. There's been new bars set for me this month for anime, and I think for what I have experienced this month, I don't want to spoil the next episode, but I think this one is a 7.5 for me, definitely for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna be even. I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep Ghost in the Shell between 7 and 7.5, but I'm gonna put Akira at least an 8. It's a solid 8 in my
Interesting.
opinion.
Maybe I'm being too harsh putting Coast in the Shell down to a 6.5, but I think Akira is significantly better, and I'm sure there must be films slap bang in the middle that I
I
would
think
call a
so.
7.
Do you want to know the actual rating? Oh my god. The
Well,
actual
I assume the rating is lower than Ghost in the Shell.
Well, I'll tell you this. I gave it an 8. It's actually got an 8 on IMDb.
Ah,
So I wasn't expecting to get that.
congratulations.
Maybe I already knew that, but subconsciously forgot it. I don't know.
It's
Uh,
possible.
Ghost in the Shell is 7.9, actually. Hmm.
I mean, Ghost in the Shell is the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes. But
Yeah,
Akira sounds like the highest on IMDb. Maybe there's something rated higher than Akira.
they could be, and I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Mm. There's an awful lot of anime out there.
There is, and I feel kind of a bit stupid because I don't know. I do you think sometimes people judge anime and people who like anime like
Yeah,
they look down on it,
yeah,
and
me.
yeah,
Yeah,
me too as well.
I,
But like
I,
I'm learning that
I
I shouldn't
didn't.
be like that.
Yeah, I was very like, oh, I can't be asked to watch anime. I never really want like the few times I bothered, I'm like, oh, okay, this is all right. I love Death Note. I really enjoy One Punch Man. But I wasn't looking forward to anime month this month, Craig. But now, after watching a couple, I'm very happy with
Yeah.
anime, and I think we'll be watching a few more anime for over the course of Phil Shrapnel's life. I very much enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be more open minded with anime in the future.
Me too.
On that bombshell, it is time to say goodbye. Do check us out on the app formerly known as Twitter, at Film Shrapnel, capital F, capital S. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we've got other social medias. You can find us on Audible now as well. We're on Audible if you want to download us. Craig, are we anywhere else?
We're on so many different podcast platforms that I really cannot keep track. Like I've tried to find the links and stick them everywhere. It's just an impossible task. But
Yeah,
you can pretty much find us everywhere. All the major platforms. So yeah, whatever is best for you to listen to us, we're probably there. So
we're
yeah, keep
probably
listening.
there. And until next time,
Bye
bye.
bye.
Shrapnel!